I'm Leslie.
And I'm Shelly.
And we're Sisters and Ebert. Welcome back to another Movie Monday.
Woo!
Our film of today, in case you can't tell, is George of the Jungle.
George of the Jungle. Watch out for that tree.
Oh!
He doesn't watch out for the tree. Spoiler alert.
Yeah. This is a movie we watched when we were kids. First time we saw it was at the drive-in.
I don't remember that. I remember watching it as a kid, but I didn't realize we saw it at the drive-in.
And then we'd watch reruns and stuff when it finally made it to TV, which it took a long time for movies then to make it to TV, so we were probably a good bit older. Yeah. We might have rented it too.
I think we probably did. Yeah, well, like when it came to VHS, when we went to the video rental store on a Friday night.
So our movie opens up with a plane crash. It starts out as a cartoon.
Yes.
Cameron again thought it was a cartoon, my son. I'm like, no.
Sorry, kid.
And then they never found baby George in the heart of the jungle near the liver and colon, I posed. Because so they were in the heart of the jungle.
Yes.
They showed a map.
They showed a map and it's like liver, colon, upper respiratory system.
That's the great part of this movie. They break the fourth wall a lot and there's a lot of goofy things. Well, John Cleese is the voice of Ape. And I have a feeling it's that kind of like humor.
Yes.
Yes. So, they flash forward 25 years and we're in live action now. And, the jungle is being threatened by a terrifying intruder and it's Leslie Mann.
And she's so cute and meekly.
What's that called again?
Yeah, and then they show a cute little monkey. She's like, "Don't you just die?" And she's so cute.
She's adorable. And this was the first role I remember seeing her in.
Yeah,
she was just getting her start too. Yeah. And I remember really liking her because I saw that her name was Leslie.
Yes.
And you don't see that often.
There's not too many Leslies
that are female.
Yes, that's true. That's true.
And then she's talking about how she's in the jungle doing some looking for animals and almost like a safari but not.
I couldn't tell if she there on a research project, but she didn't seem very knowledgeable. It seemed like she just wanted to do it.
I think she's just a tour, she's an heiress. And she did thank her friend Betsy for the moist towelettes.
They're coming in handy
because
at the bathroom, the outhouse.
The outhouse, yeah. And they're going to see the apes next, but her fiance Lyle shows up somehow in the middle of the jungle.
He tracked her down in a very stalkerish way.
Yeah, big time. With these two other...
So really probably what this trip was is that she wanted to just have a break and do her own thing. And he crashed it. Yeah,
because we get this feeling like she's got this impending, she's going to settle down and be a wife.
So I don't know why she chose this clown.
Yeah. Going to see the apes the next day. Lyle wants to leave. Everybody hates Lyle.
He's definitely a jerk.
Yeah, she's got this whole team of guides who are, helping her out, and he's
what they're doing.
Yeah, and they're just he's a jerk to them, and
he thinks he knows it all, and he can just figure it out.
Yeah,
and he got these two guys with him
that are British, and they're really maybe South African, maybe they have a British accent.
Yeah.
But they didn't seem like they had the know-how to be trackers, but they just seemed like thugs.
Yes, and they had their own secret agenda going on that they're trying to capture some animal.
They're poachers. Yeah. So they hear about the legend of the white ape, and it's supposed to be this 400-pound, 7-foot tall ape that is white, and that's in the jungle somewhere. But it's just a legend,
an urban legend. And Lyle rudely interrupts the story that they're telling, sweet... What's Leslie Mann's name? I can't think.
What? Oh, Leslie. Oh, Ursula.
Ursula's like, tell us. I want to hear all about it. And she's so respectful. And he just interrupts. Yeah. And just ruins the story.
I put Lyle is the worst. We all hate him.
They established that quickly.
Which later on, Lyle was, again, condescending to the guys, acting like they were stupid. And he's showing them the magic picture, with his camera.
It's like a Polaroid.
Yeah. And then, they start talking in Swahili, and the guide who can speak English too, he said, he says he likes your magic picture, but he prefers the Leica 35mm transparencies revolution. It has the equipment to clean he's like, your camera asshole has some dirt on it, but he has the equipment to clean it for you.
Put him in his place.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which
all making
is
fun of him.
funny because Brendan Fraser is really into photography,
I
and
didn't
that
know
is
that.
but like old school, like physical camera, physical film. So I said I was like, oh, that's funny that much detail is in this movie, is maybe that at some. But he was just coming up then too. That's why that episode of Scrubs that he's in, that was his camera that he used in it.
Oh, I didn't realize.
Yeah. So they take Ursula into the jungle Lyle does. Yeah. Lyle decides he's just
like, let's find an ape so we can go home.
Aren't they like ready to depart? And he's like, all right, let's hurry up and just go.
Yeah.
Like, it's so weird because it's light. It was dark when they were hearing the legend. The next day they're going, and it's light when he's showing his magic pictures.
He's trying to just get going here. So he just charges off into the jungle with her.
Odd stuff. So he takes Ursula into the jungle, and they find a lion.
Which, do lions live in jungles? Like, I know they're in Africa, and there's lions in Africa, but then I was thinking, like, aren't they on plains usually?
And isn't that like, what's the savannah or like the Serengeti or what, you know?
Yes. Yeah. So I was like, is this
maybe?
Are we stretching here?
And they filmed this movie in Hawaii, I know, because some of the travel bloggers that I watched, they had a Hawaii trip and they were naming the movies that were filmed like when they were getting this tour. And it was Jurassic Park and George of the Jungle. Or
they all just wanted a vacation.
Yep, and Mighty Joe Young. They were all in the same like jungle that they filmed these. So Disney had their Hollywood, I guess, had their jungle of choice in Hawaii. George fights the jungle. We're introduced to George now. He fights the jungle. The lion. I'm saying jungle. And saves Ursula, who is a funny looking fella.
Because Lyle just abandoned her. He's like, I'll go get help, and goes running off, but trips and falls.
And knocks himself
out. And she's just there left with this lion about to attack her. Thank goodness George swings on
she faints, before like anything can happen.
Yeah, like you say, funny looking fella.
Yeah, funny looking fella, because he brings her back. Yeah.
George has never seen a woman.
No, not of his species, at least. Lyle did wake and find Ursula's scrunchie.
Yeah. I remember that line. So, Ursula, I found your scrunchie. Just the way he says it.
It is funny.
Which she's wearing pure white in this jungle. Like, how are you keeping this clean?
Yeah, and like the lightest khaki in the world. Yeah. George takes Ursula to the treehouse.
Which is a modern marvel.
Yeah, it looked like a Swiss Family Robinson type of treehouse. And then Lyle goes back and says, oh, no, he doesn't go back yet. He's going over a story in his head, and he says that there's a huge white ape, it's real, and he has his girlfriend. And he came at him, and he's like rubbing dirt on him to make it look like he got roughed up.
And made it like blood. He's like, blood everywhere. Like, okay, you could just say, like, we got attacked by a lion and some guy came. Like, it's a pretty good story. You don't have to make up this thing, but he's, of course, exaggerating. Like, he was this big hero, but it's still just stuff.
Yeah. So Ursula sees Ape first upon waking, which is voiced by John Cleese, and it's this
large talking gorilla. That's not explained. How can he talk?
No, but he is.
But he does.
And it freaks her out. So and she's freaking out, and George hears her screaming, so he comes back up, and she's just going over all this stuff. They discuss that he's wearing a butt flap.
Yes, a butt flap. Instead of a
loincloth.
Loincloth.
George is explained by Ape that Ursula... Oh, yeah, so she passes back out again. And then Ape is explaining that Ursula is the female of George's species. And because he said something funny about that fella.
Yes, as he's dabbing her to try and wake her back up.
She has a fever, Ape says. So they're trying to cold compress. Ape is pretending he can't talk because it seems to upset her.
He's very dignified.
Yeah.
And it's so funny. Like, he takes off his glasses, sits down,
and his apron, I think.
Trying to pretend he's this
regular ape. Lyle keeps changing the story as we flash back to him. He's with the guides, and it said Ursula refers. That guy. Oh yeah, Ursula refers to Lyle as that guy she's with, and not her fiance when she's talking to George. Yeah, Because first, but they they talk to Lyle, and Lyle's there like, well, it was 2 lions show up. Well, now it's 2 lions. Yeah. And a minute ago it was just 1, which, so they know he's full of baloney. Mm-hmm. But they still can't find Ursula, and they like Ursula.
Yeah, so. They gotta go find her, so they're off looking for her now.
Yep. So that's when we cut back to Ursula, and she refers to Lyle as that guy she's with. She has to go find him. And so they're going to use Shep, George's big... gray peanut-loving Poochie, who's an elephant. She's like, oh, you have a dog. That's like...
calls him, and he's doing like dog-like things, but he's enormous, so like the whole jungle's shaking.
Yeah. So they're like, going on his back looking all day, and they can't find him. But Ursula's relaxed at this point.
Yeah, she's having a grand old time. Yeah. Cruising around on ship, just enjoying. This is what she wanted in this vacation. Yep. She found it.
Yep. And I put here that they kept breaking the 4th wall. I didn't put it when it initially happened, but they say well, the bad guy, nobody's gonna die in this movie, so
there's a narrator who's saying these things,
and then they reacted in awe when they saw the mountain.
Yeah.
Was, no.
I said awe. AWE.
Ooh. That's better. So they keep breaking the 4th wall, and then there was like a giant milk bone that Shep had in his mouth.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, that's too much. Take it away.
Yeah, take it away.
I like the narrator. It made it really light and fun. Definitely a kid's movie.
Yes, for sure.
It's fun.
The Tuki bird shows up and says that there's a monkey in trouble, so George goes to help. And it's this little monkey, and he's getting teased for being the runt, and blah, 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 blah.
And so basically what we're learning is that George is the sweetest man ever created, and he's been just nothing but lovely to Ursula this whole time. And she's noticing how much of a jerk Lyle is and how much that George is
It's not. Like she's never met another man in her life except these 2 and maybe her dad, because she's like, it's like she didn't know that there was another type of guy.
They can be nice. Which I've had friends who they wonder too, like, are there no nice guys out there? Well, maybe go to the jungle.
Yeah.
That's where they are.
So Kwame, who's the lead guide, finds a big footprint in the mud. It's a man's footprint, and I put good arch because I notice such things because my feet are totally flat. So when someone has a good arch,
have no arch.
I
can
tell.
Not show.
Yeah, I can tell. I'm like, oh, it must be nice for them that they can be barefoot. George's so they're back at the treehouse, and Ursula, they're kind of flirting back and forth, and Ursula's like, I want to know all your secrets, and then you just cut to Ape in the other room going, George's Secrets, that's the shortest book ever written. So he's teaching her how to swing on a vine, and
they were dancing.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that.
Oh, I thought we were there.
No, the next day they wake up, and George just felt like looking a little special that day.
He's got flowers all over his hair, tucked back.
Might have a picture in one of the books.
Oh, I should look. I'll look.
You look.
I'll peruse.
Yeah. There's the vine swinging.
There's the vine swing. Oh, no, not on this one.
Try the other one.
Let's try this movie storybook. I love that there's so many props for this one.
Yes.
Are you a fan?
I am. I have a collection, and I love this one. It's not.
No, that's such a funny moment.
That is, because there's like a trading card. I don't have the trading cards, but I know that there is one, and that was like a big promotion photo for it.
Is this going to be on your Christmas list
this year?
Maybe. There we go. So I messed with the prop.
Oh, it's all good in the head. Yeah, so George is like this purple lei, I guess, or no, the purple flower in his hair.
I think it was a white flower in his hair and then a purple lei.
Yeah, and he's just
I just felt like looking fancy today.
Special today. Oh, there's a gif of it going around. That's why for a while I was like, me just feel like looking special. And then Ape notices that, and he's asking if there's a stirring of special feelings, and they're looking in on Ursula, who's still sleeping, and he's like, there's a stirring of special feelings right now. He wants to make Ursula his mate and have Ape help. I said, and he says, good thing we're the same species, huh?
Yeah,
he's having
these brothers.
Feelings. Yeah. So they keep insulting Lyle in Swahili as we cut back to Lyle and the crew. And then finally his 2 guides that he brought, the poachers, offer 100 Somalis each to capture a white ape alive.
Mm-hmm.
But like the whole time we were under the impression these guys only speak Swahili. However, like when they he's like, well, tell them I'll give them 100 or 50 Somalis each to to capture the white ape alive. Make it 100 and you got a deal. So Ursula is no longer afraid of never being found. Yeah, she's pretty happy.
She's gonna just stay here forever.
Yeah. George takes Ape's mating advice, and he's like, which is pretty much like a gorilla's mating advice.
Yeah.
He's like puffing out his cheeks and spitting.
Which, with how like learned he is.
Yeah.
Like he's always got. What was he reading? Like
it was a physician's desk
yes.
reference.
Yeah, but so you don't realize that like they mate differently.
Yeah.
Like,
He's
but
an
yeah,
ape, Shell.
I
Some
know.
slack.
But so he's telling George like, puff out your lips and show your teeth. And, like beat your chest and like make all these noises. Like,
and so it kind of scares Ursula away. She's like, okay, I'm gonna go.
Like, this is odd.
But the good thing is that Ape finds a book on human courtship, and so he's able to help George out. They're discussing George's crocodile tooth necklace. Mm-hmm. And
she's like, did you have to wrestle him for that?
And it's like, no, I know fight. Yeah.
He had toothache.
Yeah. George pulled out tooth.
Again, showing you're so sweet and helpful.
And then Ursula shows him her pink cereal box ring that's
she's had since childhood that she just always loved.
Yeah.
And she gives it to him.
Yeah.
Not even a thought.
No.
Just, I want you to have it. Ties it to his necklace.
And they're talking about it's good juju, it's good, luck. And, and then he asks if she wants to dance, and she'd be like, no, I'd be embarrassed. He's like, no one to look stupid for. Just George.
He's so cute.
It's so cute. George just lucky, I guess, because she asked like how, he knows so much and was able to survive this long and blah, blah, blah. George just lucky, I guess. Lyle then falls in elephant poop.
Oh, yeah. Face plants in it. And I clearly remember that from childhood. Like,
they break the fourth wall again and say, now's the time when we throw our heads back and laugh. So they find the treehouse and they see there's no white ape, just a dude. He's like, I could see a dude in a leopard string bikini in Miami if I just stood.
I'd have to come all this way.
Yeah. The poachers want to then go after the ivory of Shep, but they shoot George instead. So
he jumps in the way.
Yeah. So George can't die. He's the hero. So we cut to them on a plane, and Ursula will get him the best medical treatment available. And the poachers are deported, but they're not. They say they're going to be deported, but they're not.
Yeah. And Lyle's in prison.
Yep, Lyle's in a African prison, I guess. Poachers want the ape instead for Vegas shows.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ape himself.
They decide after that. Yeah, because he can talk. They hear him talk.
You hear it. And Ursula's like, I knew it!
Yeah, because the whole time. George is now in San Francisco with Eric. Ursula.
Prince Eric.
Prince Eric. And then her friend Betsy arrives. Betsy. And George is just out of the shower and she sees why he's king of the jungle.
Yes, he did not cover. They don't show you that in a kid's movie though. This is an awkward to watch with your parents.
They cover with like a cushion and a book or something.
But Betsy is fond of George.
Yeah, Betsy's like, oh, now I see what you've been doing in the jungle all this time. And Ursula has a nice floral butt flap. Because George is trying on her dress.
The dress.
It's a little sundress. Yeah. And then, so she decides to take him shopping before...
In the dress?
Yeah.
Like, she had nothing else he could have put on.
She's
nothing.
Wealthy, Shell. She doesn't have scrubby things to wear.
There was probably something other than that. Look what she was wearing in the jungle. She could have squeezed him in some khakis or something.
Could she?
I don't know.
Could she? She's much tinier than he is.
I guess, but I don't know how he's fitting in that butt flap.
That's true. So they get there and she takes him to Neiman Marcus and he looks pretty darn good in Armani.
Mm-hmm.
Ursula's mom sees George and Ursula as they're walking around, and she sees it from the car, and she freaks out. Yeah,
she is definitely the rich villain here.
Yeah, because she's very upset that Lyle's in prison, and they need to get him out and get him home, and blah blah blah.
And Ursula doesn't even care about her fiance.
So she calls up her Ursula, to say, like, who was this you were with, and blah blah blah. And George picks up the phone and screams in it, and her mother's like, well, that was an overreaction. She thinks it was Ursula. This is when Ursula's going to go tell her dad about George and about what happened with Lyle. And this is the part I remember a lot from childhood, was the coffee commercial.
Mm-hmm.
Jaffa, 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 Jaffa.
Yeah. Yeah, he's watching a coffee commercial, decides to just eat coffee grounds.
Yeah, because that's what, like, will bring you romance or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a funny scene. I remembered it too.
George goes out of the apartment on his own. He's at a dance studio and doing bongo drums, and then sees the biggest rope bridge he's ever seen in his life, and goes to the Golden Gate Bridge. There's Ursula. We cut to Ursula, who goes to tell her father about George, and dad has a surprise engagement party for Ursula at, like, the bank or whatever.
That Lyle's not invited to. Like it didn't come up, like, we planned this ahead of time.
And we get the impression throughout this that Lyle works for them too.
Yes.
Like,
they
he's
all
like
know
a big
him.
big wig in the company. And Ursula's just like, I feel so guilty right now. I don't know what to do. But there's a stuck parachuter on the Golden Gate Bridge,
which George has scaled. He's at the top of it. He's hanging out. Enjoying the
Here, buddy, need Vine?
Yeah, it just swings down to him. I'll help you out.
Yeah. So somehow they switch, and the parachuter swings down with the vine, and George gets in the parachute somehow.
Yeah, he's like tangled up in it, and then Augusta went and pulls
carries
him
him off in the parachute.
And Ursula saw this on TV.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they saw it. It's the strangest thing happening at the Bay Bridge, her dad said.
So gets on a boat to come and part of the rescue. Like they just let her on the. She's like, I need to be on this boat. And they're like, all right, come aboard. We're going to rescue someone.
So Ursula hugs George. Oh yeah, because when he crashes because it's George of the Jungle. So he doesn't just crash into trees; he crashed into the boat too.
Yes.
So she hugs him upon him landing on the boat, and he was like, "Wow, this coffee stuff really works." Let's see. We cut to the poachers in the jungle, and they say, like, which ape are we taking? The biggest one? No, the one who's playing chess. And Tukey goes to tell George about Ape being kidnapped.
Yes,
Ape-napped.
He flies off to San Francisco.
Yeah. Ursula, I almost called her Leslie Mann. Ursula finally tells her parents about George, and her mother freaks out. She loves Lyle.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't either.
He's rich.
I guess. And then George swings into the cake. What's he swinging on now? Vine? Like,
I don't know what he was swinging on.
I don't remember either. Lyle was busy attending to legal affairs. That's what they told people at the engagement party that they were having that night. And then this part I remember too, the George with the horses running around. Yes. And these two guys, like all the girls at the party are just lined up watching him run around with these horses. And these two guys in the background are like, what is it with chicks and horses?
Yeah, he's just like having a blast.
Yeah.
It's a kind of slow motion.
Yeah.
He's hopping on these horses, having fun.
Which, and they're talking about how, is he, just a real meathead? No, he's got intelligence, but it's not like your banker. But it's a sensual intelligence. But yeah, fun fact, one of the girls that's standing there is Brendan Fraser's now ex-wife, but that's who he had they were married for a long time, and he had his children with her.
Okay.
Yeah, and then later on, Mrs. Ursula, who, as George calls him, Mr. and Mrs. Ursula, she gets George, alone and tries to explain that, this isn't going to work out. Stripes with stripes and spots with spots. I just always think of her as the dean from California, or the Saved by the Bell, the college years.
She was bitter old dean.
Bitter old dean. But it's like, oh, because like she could tell that he loves her daughter. Oh, Mrs. Ursula, not so dumb, you know. But then, you know, after George hears this, he's very upset. But then Tukey Bird arrives, and George has to go save Abe. Mm-hmm. So he leaves Ursula his crocodile tooth necklace.
Yes.
As she's sleeping. Yep.
David tucks it in her hand.
Yeah.
She doesn't stir.
Yeah. No.
I'd be like, what's happening?
She's a heavy sleeper. Ursula is unsure why George left without saying goodbye. It's not like him. Mm-hmm. And then she's talking to her parents about it, and her mother's talking about, well, just because you're in love. What did you just say? She's like, no, Ursula, no. And she's like, you're right. I am. And she's like, I gotta go, and goes to George. And then her dad says, Ursula's mom is, that woman's a real pain in the butt.
And she did realize her mom had said something
to George. Yeah, she's like, what did you say to him?
Yeah.
You know? So I said that George gets some Nike Air Jordans when he gets there, so he can run to find
puts on Air Jordans. Where were they then at this point?
He was in the jungle again.
Back in the jungle.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He was like just landed.
He got there quickly.
Did he take a plane, or did Tukey Bird fly him there? I didn't pay attention.
He just swang his way across the ocean. Who knows? But he ended up. He got there. It did kind of seem like an airport sort of scenario.
I could. He was definitely in the village.
How did he purchase a ticket?
Yeah.
We don't know. And he's back in his butt flap.
Yep. There's no money in the butt flap that we know of. So
well, who knows? In pockets.
So he can run to Ape more quickly in the Jordans. The poachers are stuck with Ape and lost. They can't, like, the cage that they're transporting him in keeps like the wheels off or something like that. And you know, Abe tries to tell him like, "Oh, this is a fake shortcut that we made up." Well, that's just what he would say to get back to the treehouse. You know, like, okay. George, so they're back at the treehouse because like Abe told them they kept going. They would hit the treehouse. And then George arrives and fights the poachers. Mm-hmm. But I said it's a weird fight. It's a part tickle fight. It's a very Disney fight.
There's tickling. It's a little strange.
And these guys look like, I mean, they had a gun at one point.
Yeah.
They look pretty tough. I mean, not like, super tough, but
British
tough.
Yeah. A little thug in them, maybe.
Yeah. The one guy was pretty big. The other guy was little. But,
they could have taken on George. I know he's muscly, but I think 2 against 1.
Ursula shows up and George is still fighting.
She got there suddenly.
Like cartoon fight. He had like a whole night on her, and she got there. I guess flight times. I guess when you know people, you can take.
Maybe he didn't take a flight there.
Maybe he was just swimming.
Swimming the ocean.
Okay. So he talks to Ursula. I put before unlocking Ape from the cage after he defeats these guys.
If I were Ape, I'd be like, "Yo, I'm over here."
Lyle then shows up after escaping the prison, or I guess escaping Jarl. That can't be right.
He showed up suddenly,
and he joins a cult who captured George. And Lyle is going to force marriage to Ursula because he's now ordained by the cult as a minister.
Yeah, and she's like, "Dude, you're crazy."
Yeah, he's nuts. Why to marry her too? Like this is so.
Yeah, like what is he getting from this? I don't know. I mean, I guess her dad is the bigwig at where he works, so I don't know.
Yeah. So, Little Monkey sees and tells the other animals, and I said, "Sorry, Shell, another snake."
I know. So I was watching this in bed and I started to doze, like slightly. And I was like it was one of those, like, you catch yourself doing it. I was like, whoa, I blinked at the right time because I saw, like, him sliding down. And I was like, oh, okay. Because I remember that scene. It scarred me a little. It stuck with me. So I knew it was coming. So I was a little mentally prepared for it. But so I casually missed it as I was dozing slightly.
Oh, that's great.
I didn't sleep through the movie, though. It was just that moment. It was a quick, and then I got myself back up. I know what's happening.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, so he's George. Okay. Lyle tries to marry Ursula. They're heading for the rapids. George swings to save Ursula and still finds a tree to hit. I put.
Yes. Always.
It's wide open, but he always finds a tree. Saves Ursula as the tree is knocked over. So Ursula, so he can grab Ursula, and then Lyle marries an ape by accident. That's somehow got placed on the raft.
And it's stuck. He's just stuck. Yeah. That's what it is.
So they kiss, and then fast forward to the wedding, and Tuki's the ring bearer. Ursula's mother is there, and she's like, I wish there weren't so many apes. I feel like Jane Goodall. And Ape comes up and he goes, man, I know Jane Goodall, and you are no Jane Goodall.
It's such a sweet wedding. I love that part.
Yeah, and he's got like his like jungle royalty would wear. It's like, and she's got like a dress, like the regular bride's dress that you have, in America.
Cute.
Yeah,
and they're so happy.
They are, and they're just so sweet. Both of them.
Yes,
are so
they
sweet.
just
like, just the kindest people. Shep is chugging champagne.
I didn't notice that.
He picked it up in the trunk, and he's like, Then later on, we see the mother is dancing with Ape. Yeah, so George is that was the part that got me. George looking at Ursula when she's dancing. Oh,
yes, yeah, he's watching her. It's like, this is what you want at your wedding. The groom to be looking at you like
that. Exactly. Yeah. And then they ride away on Shep, who is just married.
On his bud.
Yep. Then we fast forward to the next year, and we see their son George Jr. And then we cut to George just lucky, I guess, on Pride Rock, as they do
the whole Lion King thing.
And then we it starts to go to the credits, but then wait, Ape, we didn't find out what happened to Ape yet. So he gets his own Vegas style show singing I Did It My Way, and the poachers are forced to perform somehow. Like, I have they're like stuck in this costume, but so he's got a George and he's got an Ursula, actress. And...
he's got a whole variety show here in Vegas.
So this was I love this movie.
It's a fun kids movie.
It's adorable.
It is. It's sweet.
I said, and Disney had they didn't have to make Tarzan that attractive. I mean, George. But I mean, Tarzan.
They went above and beyond.
The mother of all himbos, I've seen it referred to.
I saw movie trivia that the trainer for Brendan Fraser, he sued him after this because he didn't credit him in the film. He lost. He lost the fight. Because it's like, who credits their trainer?
And he has the power to he was getting to be a star at that point, but it was before The Mummy or
it was from this movie that they saw him and called him for The Mummy.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like, I saw that was like, well, he did do a good job of training him.
Yeah, but he said that he barely remembers making this movie because he was so lightheaded and just
malnourished.
Yeah, because he said it was just like a non-diet, it was horrible.
He was.
And he said he barely. Yeah, he was very cut. And I said I'm kind of surprised he did it too because of Encino Man. I was you'd think they're kind of putting him in the caveman-esque box, again, but. Yeah. I guess you take what you get. So I put there's actually they made a George of the Jungle 2.
I did see that movie. I've never seen the movie. The poster when I was searching.
And it's not the same George. And there's actually a scene in it because Brendan Fraser was going to do George of the Jungle 2, but they didn't want to pay him because it was after he made The Mummy. So they didn't want to pay him. So there's a scene that references, though, because they're and if you watch George of the Jungle 2, it's that same kind of fourth wall breaking thing. And it was like, wait, who's that? Some things in the jungle have changed. Wait, who's that? And they're like, I'm New George. Well, and it's and it just shows a close up on him. He's like, Studio 2 cheap to pay Brendan Fraser. And then he's like, well, how'd you get it? New George just lucky, I guess.
That's funny. At least they addressed it.
Yeah, they addressed it. Yeah,
because I saw Lyle was in George of the Jungle 2. I was like, oh, there's a second one. Okay.
I think the mother might be too. I didn't notice. I didn't look to see if it was the same one or not. I didn't have enough time. But there's a couple other things in this movie. Brendan Fraser absolutely hated that little monkey.
Really?
Because it was awful. And Leslie Mann said the same thing. It was just a mean little monkey. The one that's so cute. And everybody's like...
Fun fact, our mom had a monkey when she was a kid.
Yes, as a pet.
Yes, as a pet. In rural
Bumble, PA.
area. Yes. So, like, I don't know how they acquired this monkey, but they did.
Illegally, I'm sure.
And Mom did not like this monkey because it was mean.
Well,
and frisky.
That's what this one was, too. Brendan Fraser said that they had to have the monkey wear a fur bikini to cover up because it was constantly, like, aroused.
Showing.
And it was always trying to, like, be inappropriate with itself. Yeah, and he said he hated this monkey so much. Yeah.
It's a common thing.
Yeah.
For primates.
And that when they were working with the lion, he wasn't supposed to make eye contact with the lion, and that was, like, of course, the first thing that he did by accident. And then Leslie Mann was married to Judd Apatow when they were making this movie, but she fell in love with Brendan Fraser making the movie. Like, she said, like, it just came out within the past, like, 2 years. Like, yeah. She was like, yeah. And she was like, and Judd knew about it. She's like, I just, every day, like, I'm just seeing he's almost naked every day,
How could you not? He's so sweet.
And then there was, I forget whose show they were on, if it was Drew Barrymore or what. It was some talk show that they were both on together, and Brendan was talking about how he sees this guy staring at him from, like, in the bushes, like, and he was like he didn't think anything of it. He's like, years later I found out it was Judd Apatow. Like, just kind of stared him down, like.
That's great.
But yeah, so it looked like a lot of fun, and even Lyle, like, he's supposed to be the jerk, but you could tell he's acting.
Yeah,
like they probably
really
all
him.
Got along, and yeah, it was one of those. So I love this movie.
It was cute. It's really cute.
Watching this a couple years ago with my son, because he didn't remember that it wasn't a cartoon, but we did watch it when he was younger too. He goes through this spurt. Well, we'll be hot on a movie for a while, and then he won't remember it for several years. But yeah, the ones when he was a kid, he swears. Like, just last night we were talking about Tarzan, the cartoon, because we heard the song on the Disney radio. And he couldn't remember. We used to watch that, like, every week.
Constantly.
Every week, because they would show it on, like, a Friday night movie for little kids on Disney Junior. And when he was, like, 1, we used to watch it all the time, and he loved that movie. But anyways, yeah. So watching this with him, that's what made me, like start looking into Brendan Fraser movies, and that got me on the Fraser train.
And here we are. I borrowed your pin.
She did. And
to be festive with you.
Yeah. And and it's cool because now he's getting recognized again, because for a while he wasn't.
Leslie! He signed it for her.
Signed it for me.
But you didn't meet him, right?
No, I wish. He did a convention, but it was in Connecticut. Couldn't get there.
But so you could
order it and mail. Yep.
Oh, how nice. He just seemed like
it was before the whale
guy.
came out. Like, I got back on the train before everybody else.
So now
I wouldn't be able to afford it now, I'm sure. Because that's a picture from Doom Patrol, his character in Doom Patrol. But I should have got, I like his Blast from the Past movie. I think that's probably my favorite one. I should have got one from that. But you live and learn, and now I can't afford it.
Well, you jumped on the train at the right time.
But if he ever does another convention, I'll keep an eye out. This was still in pandemic times too. So.
Gotcha. Well, thank you for joining us to this walk down Brendan Fraser memory lane. Leslie's having a grand old time with this one.
Well, I love this movie growing up too, so like it's just a cute movie.
It is. It's funny. It's very nostalgic for us, and it's nice.
I remember watching it at sleepovers. So like I remember our friends had it. So
yeah.
But thank you again, and again, these are our opinions. How many do you give it? Any thumbs up? We're not doing a squirrel rating.
I give 2 thumbs up for the category it is.
Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
It's cute.
It's adorable, and it's fun to watch. And even if the kids want to watch it, it could be a lot worse.
Yes,
they watch some boring stuff sometimes.
Yes.
But thank you again for joining us. If you have any opinions about our opinions, please let us know in the comment section. Please follow us on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. And subscribe, and comment on YouTube. And please share our videos too, if you're so inclined. If you like one, or if you think, hey, look at these 2 idiots. Yeah.
The more the merrier.
We'll take it. And we'll see you next week for another Movie Monday. See you at the movies.